The knife doesn't hurt when it goes in. It's the twist, the moment you realize they knew exactly where to cut. That's when the real bleeding starts. You never see the first cut. That's the trick. They wait for the moment you finally relax, when you laugh without thinking, when your guard drops because you mistake their presence for safety. And that's when it happens. They press a finger into the exact wound you trusted them with. At first, it's subtle, a strange comment, a cold pause, a shift you feel before you understand. You tell yourself you're imagining things. You tell yourself real love doesn't keep score. So you smother the unease climbing your spine, because admitting the truth would mean admitting this person, your person, might not be who you believe they were. So you stay, you give more. You work twice as hard to fix something you don't realize is already broken. Not breaking, broken. You were just the last one to find out. There's a certain loneliness that only betrayal creates. It's not about being alone. It's about losing the person you thought existed. You lie awake replaying everything. When did they change? 3 months ago? 6? Or were they wearing a mask the whole time? The memory of how they used to look at you burns the worst. The softness, the interest, the way they made you feel seen. And now you're forced to accept that someone who once touched your soul also looked you in the eye and lied without flinching. They weaponized your trust, mapped your fears, used your vulnerability like coordinates. The pain isn't that they hurt you, it's that they meant to. And then comes the shift. Quiet, no fireworks, just a moment. Maybe in your kitchen, maybe driving home, where everything inside you sinks. You finally understand they didn't just betray you, they erased the version of you that existed with them. And that man, the one who trusted blindly, who gave without hesitation, you're not sure he deserves to come back, because maybe he was naive, maybe he was unguarded, maybe he walked himself into the fire and called it love. The shame hits next, then anger. You want to blame yourself for missing the red flags, but deep down, you know the truth. You saw them. You just didn't want to believe that someone you love could be that cruel. So you sit in the wreckage, not the crying kind, though that comes too, but the kind that rewires you from the inside out, the kind that makes you question every instinct you've ever relied on. You notice the world differently now, how easily people lie, how casually they leave, how small your pain is in their universe. And the realization that breaks you most is this: they're not losing sleep over you. They're not reliving the moments. They're not drowning in guilt. They moved on, maybe long before they actually walked away. And you're still here, bleeding alone. That's the real isolation, not physical, emotional, like screaming underwater while everyone else keeps breathing. But beneath the grief, something else begins to form. Not hope, not yet. Something harder, sharper. The understanding that no one is coming to rescue you. You're going to have to rebuild yourself one piece at a time. And then, almost unnoticed, you feel something shift inside you. A steady pulse. You're still here. You don't forgive them. You're not even close. But slowly you start forgiving yourself for trusting, for trying, for being human in a world that punishes softness. Late at night, a terrifying thought creeps in. Maybe the wrong people don't just break you. Maybe they forge you, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. You don't know what that means yet, but you can feel something, someone new forming inside the wreckage. Days pass. You stop checking their social media, not because you're healed, but because you finally understand something brutal and clean. Whatever they're doing now has nothing to do with you. It never did. You were a role, a chapter, a placeholder until they turned the page. That clarity hurts more than the heartbreak. It leaves a quiet sorrow in your chest. You start to wonder if you ever knew them at all, or if you just knew the version they performed. And then the anger arrives. Hot, sharp, the kind that makes your jaw lock. You imagine telling them everything, making them feel what you felt. But you stop yourself because deep down, you know the truth. People like that don't feel remorse. They rewrite the story until they're the victim. So the anger stays. It simmers. It teaches. You start retracing your steps. All the times you defended them. All the moments your instincts scream while you stayed. You thought love could fix them, but some people aren't broken. They're just cruel. And you paid the price. That's the wound that cuts the deepest. Not that they hurt you, but that you helped them do it by staying. You move differently now, more guarded, more aware. You measure your words. You keep your distance. You scan the room for exits. Being seen once got you destroyed. Now it feels like a risk you can't afford. And then one day, randomly, you see someone who reminds you of them. A gesture, a smile, a sound. Your stomach drops, but only for a moment. The storm passes and you're still standing. That's when you realize something important. You're not who you were before. You're stronger in a way you never wanted to be. But strength earned in darkness still counts. You don't celebrate it, but you acknowledge it. Quietly and slowly, you let go. Not of the memory, you'll carry that, but of the need for an apology, for closure, for the fantasy where they finally understand. You stop waiting for the ending you deserved. You accept the one you got. Healing isn't clean. Some days you feel free. Other days, a single memory drags you under. But every time, you rise a little faster. You learn to be alone without being lonely. You learn to trust yourself again. And the person you're becoming, harder in places, softer in others, feels real, earned, unavoidable. One day you realize you haven't thought about them in hours, then days, then weeks. Their name shows up and it feels light, weightless, like a closed book. That's the threshold. Not forgetting, but reclaiming your life. Eventually someone new will come along, and you'll notice how different you are, how much more carefully you love, how much more slowly you trust. Part of you will mourn the version of you that loved recklessly, but another part, the survivor, will be grateful, because this time you'll know the difference between love and manipulation, between interest and control, between being seen and being used. And on the nights when the silence gets too loud and the loneliness creeps back in, you hold on to one truth. You survived the person who knew exactly where to cut. Not the knife, the twist. And if you can survive that, you can survive anything. The wound closed, the scar stayed, and you're still standing, not untouched, not unbroken, but standing. And for now, that's enough.